Hey everyone, welcome to my stream. I'm Sarah, and today we are going to be doing a drawing. This has been a pretty exciting week for streaming because I started my crochet stream this week. But today we are going to do our regular schedule. Friday nights we do drawing. So let's take a look at what we're going to be drawing tonight. So if you notice down at the bottom of my screen, right there, there is a link to my Discord channel. Every time I do an art stream, I post a reference photo of what we're going to be drawing. So today we're going to be doing a lighthouse, and let's go over there and take a look. All right, so let's see, so this is the lighthouse. Let's see. Let me see what you guys are seeing. Hang on. Oh boy. Picnic errors all around here. Okay, so we're going to be doing this little lighthouse. This is what's known as a seascape. So anything involving, now this has like it looks like some mountains or something in the background. This is a reference photo. I didn't actually do this. I have taught this particular class before, so somewhere in my archive of drawings, I do actually have this drawing. I think we're going to probably leave these mountains out because then it's not really a seascape. It's more like a lakescape or something, right? I don't know, maybe. I think we're going to probably leave those out. We'll just let this be like open water. But anyway, so we've got this lighthouse. We've got these kind of rocky crags. And then up front here, you'll notice that there's like these detailed leaves. And so we'll be adding those in. And that just gives a little bit more texture to it, like it's realistic. That you do not have to add those in if you don't feel comfortable doing that. Anyway, okay. So that's that. Let's talk about supplies. So I've got my pencils here, my set of pencils, and this is, it's called the Gioconda set by Koh-i-Noor. These are very good pencils, and I like them because they include sepia colored pencils, which is nice if you want to get like, you know, that brown shade. And if you just want to add, excuse me, any color at all, sepia is nice because it adds color without it taking away from the artistic quality. It's not that you can't have an artistic drawing with colored pencils, but it tends to look more illustrative. Let's say that. It tends to look more illustrative when you use colored pencils versus, just using them lightly in a drawing. Okay. This also has stick versions of all of the pencils. Now, and there's, okay, let's see. It has a kneaded eraser, which is nice because you can form it into the shape that you want it and then, erase with that little part. And then it has a spreader, which is for, you can see mine's dirty here because I've already used it a bunch. But anyway, this blending stump is for blending everything together and making it look nice and smooth and well blended. I also have an eraser, like an outside eraser, because this one is very nice for getting into little points, but this is just better overall as an eraser. I have a pencil sharpener, but I also have a number 2 pencil. And the reason I have this here is because I want you to know you can use a number 2 pencil and just a piece of paper and totally take my drawing class. You don't have to have this fancy dancy drawing set. Like I said, it's nice to have, but you don't need it. So this is a number 2. Number 2, it's hard to read here, but it says HB there. What that means is that it is right in the middle between the hard and the bold pencils. All of the pencils I have in here are either B's or these are all graphite, by the way. I have B's, and then I also have lead and charcoal. H stands for hard, B stands for bold. The higher the number you go in hard, the shinier it is and the more precise line you can get. The higher you go in the B, the other direction, the darker it gets and the more easily spreadable it is. To the point where it's almost spreadable like charcoal, where you could wipe your hand across it and it would just smear on the page. So, yeah, this is directly in the middle, which means that it's not too hard and it's not too bold. The good thing about that is it's really great for things like bubble tests, where you have to bubble something in and then later it needs to be read by a machine. But it's not always the best for drawing when you're trying to get lots of detail and shading. So it's nice to have the set, but you can do it with this. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Enough talking. Whoa, my screen just went really blurry there. Okay, we're back. Enough talking. Let's get to drawing. All right, so today we're going to be, I've got my paper. I'm waiting for my camera. Come on. My camera to start cooperating. It's going in and out. Okay. Oh boy. Today's a day, man. All right. I'm going to start with my 2B pencil. Again, you can use your number 2 pencil, no problem. So, we're going to start in the portrait position, which means vertical. So if we started like this, this would be the landscape orientation. Now, even though we're doing a landscape today, because we've got, because we're doing a lighthouse, then we've got more interest that's going in the vertical orientation. So we're going to be that way. But literally, when you see those orientations, portrait and landscape, you know, like maybe you're going to print something and you see that your printer asks you about that. That is, from drawing, you normally do landscape side to side because that's where the interest is. You want to see more of that. And you normally do portraits vertically because, again, if you're seeing a face, our faces are long. Okay. Let's get started. So first we're going to do our horizon line, and hopefully my screen will, my camera, excuse me, will stop trying to adjust. This happened last time and I don't remember what it was that we did to fix it. Maybe, I think it was just we started drawing. So let's just get drawing. Okay. You can put your horizon line directly in the middle. Okay. However, that's pretty boring. In most drawings, you don't want to put it directly in the middle. So what we need to decide is where our most interesting stuff is going to be. Well, if you remember here, I'll pull up the drawing again so you can see. Ooh, come on. There we go. So if you, hi, welcome. Okay, so if you see that most of our interest is in the foreground, so that means we want our foreground to be bigger than our sky. So let's get out of here. Oops, come on. Go away. There we go. All right, so instead of doing it right in the middle, what we're going to do is go up just a little bit. We don't have to go up very much, like maybe an inch. And then we're going to just do a line straight across. Now notice that my line isn't perfectly straight. That's okay. Like we can actually straighten that out at a later time. But right now we just want to get generally where this is. So if you see, let me make sure you can see my whole, sorry, I'm adjusting my camera. Okay, so we put our horizon line higher so that we have more going on down here. All right. Now what we're going to do is we want to do some interesting stuff in the sky. So I'm going to take my pencil. My lesson plan actually recommends taking my graphite stick and then coming in here and doing that. But I want you guys to be able to see that you can do this with a number 2 pencil. So I'm going to show you how you can do this. So what we're going to do, I'm going to kind of start moving back and forth. Okay. And then I'm going to leave some areas that are white. So these are going to be my clouds. Okay. So just come in here and just leave some areas that are white. So see how I'm going to hold this up so you can see better. So leave some white areas there. All right. So let's see. I'm going to have some interesting shaped clouds. Maybe I'll have a kind of a circular shaped cloud that has this interesting tail. Anybody gets that reference, we can be friends. Okay, so let's see, we've got, so I'm just coming in here, so so you guys can see. I'm just coming in here and making different negative shapes, basically. So my clouds are actually my negative shapes. Let's see, let's do some long ones. All right, so now I'm going to fill in. I've got where I want my clouds to go. And I'm going to fill in. Maybe I want some clouds going off this direction. Welcome, anyone new coming on. We are drawing a lighthouse today. And all I've done so far is, and again, you can do this with a number 2 pencil. All I've done so far is I've drawn my horizon line. And I went to about the middle, which is about here, and then went up about an inch. And that's how, so we're drawing our horizon a little higher than the middle of the page. And now we're just going in and drawing in clouds. And that's it. And to draw in clouds, I'm just doing little sketchy marks that leave white spots in the middle. This is called negative space. And I'm just making lots of sketchy marks. Now, I'm going to let my pencil get lighter as I come down, so I'm not going to basically my pressure. I'm releasing my pressure. I have to think about how to say that. So as you get down towards the horizon, just use less pressure. Okay, now all of you may not have a spreader because that's something that comes in a kit. Now I'm going to use my spreader. However, there's a couple things you can do. Oh, I think I just covered up some of my clouds. Well, let's just fix that. Always blow, do not wipe, because if you wipe, it'll smear everything. Okay, so if you hear me say blow, don't wipe, that's what I mean by that. And actually, you know what? I erased that and realized I did actually want to shade that in. It happens. Okay, so I'm going to hold this up again. So you can see I've got all these like little random white spaces. I've got this very special cloud over here. All right, so now you're going to use your spreader. You can also use your finger. You can also take like another sheet of paper and you can fold it up. Like you can crumple it up and then, you know, come in with another sheet of paper. That's another possibility. Also, my cousin, hi, welcome William Bundy. Welcome everybody. It looks like I've got some new people on here today, so this is exciting. What we're getting ready to do is we're going to smooth all of this darker area in. My cousin John, who is an artist, he came on the stream one day and he said if you wet a paper towel and kind of crumple it up and then let it dry, that you can use that as well as a spreader. Like you wet it, you twist it up and then let it dry, and it will dry as a spreader, apparently. I guess you could probably do that with paper. But anyway, here's what's going to happen. So I'm going to come in with my spreader, and I'm just going to start coloring, basically. I'm just coloring. So feel free. My streams are usually pretty small. I don't have, tons of viewers or anything like that. So feel free to ask any questions you want. This is designed to be a beginner class. So, there are no stupid questions. Just ask. It's all about learning here. Learning is probably my top priority in life. So I want everybody else to get the same opportunities. Okay. So all I'm doing is coming in here, and you notice it's getting a little bit darker because what I'm doing is filling in the spots, and I'm really wanting my camera to stop trying to focus because it's starting to annoy me a little bit, camera. It will, as soon as there's something darker on the page, it will. It needs something to focus on. It's just too light, I think. Motion from the shoulder? What do you mean? I'm not sure about that. Oh, very cool. You're an art teacher. Oh, I see what you mean by motion from the shoulder. Like, yeah, right. Okay. Yes, and actually I meant to mention that earlier when I drew my horizon line, that for drawing a straight line, it's best to move your entire arm. Well, hello. Welcome, Will. I didn't know that you used to be an art teacher. That's pretty awesome, actually. So, that's cool. Yay, a fellow artist. All right, well, I think we're all kind of artists in some way, right? There's a bunch of different kinds of art. This is something, you didn't do traditional art. What kind of art did you do? Digital? Oh, gotcha. Okay. That's still pretty cool. But yeah, you do move your entire arm. If you move your wrist, then you end up getting a curve. And sometimes you want that, right? Like sometimes you want, wispies. So I use my wrist for wispies. Game art. Oh yeah, well that makes sense. I'm the one lone non-programmer not in Brainstrong though, because I got my friend Karen to join. I was like, I need another girl and I need a non-programmer. So come with me. Doing pixel art on paper wasn't great, but you always try to bring in a bunch of history. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Pixel art on paper, man. I'm trying to think. I feel like there's something in my brain that's rattling around right now about pixel art on paper, and I haven't quite formulated it yet, but let me think about that, because there's something. Oh no, I know what I'm thinking of. I'm not thinking of pixel art on paper. I was thinking of in my art classes I used to do, you paint. All right. Okay, so you had your kids paint pixel art on 8x8 grids and glue them together. Oh, interesting. A quilter. Okay, well, I am also a fiber artist, so, that's pretty awesome. I don't quilt. It's the one fiber art that I don't do, and I haven't decided whether I want to yet, because quilting is like quite intense. So we'll see. We'll see if I get to that. All right. So we've got our sky filled in. Like I said, you could be doing this with your finger, but I did it with with my spreader. Okay. Let's see. I'm just going to kind of come into these edges and just blend a little bit. I'm just blending on the edges. I just want it to look a little bit more natural than just these like big white blobs in the sky. Yeah. Okay, so pointillism is actually sort of. Okay, so the concept behind pointillism, I think, is probably closer to the concept behind pixel art than them being actually like each other. It's more like their concepts are similar. But pointillism is lots of little points that come together to create a solid picture. This is the same thing with pixels, right? But with pixel art, it's more about... and I might be wrong on this because pixel art, digital art in general is not really my forte. I would like to learn more about it, but it's not. Yeah, so like it's about pulling in. Well, okay. Well, so here's the thing is that with pointillism, it also is about blending. I don't have... I have like a really good example. It's on my website, but I have a good example of I did a self-portrait in pointillism, and the idea is that you don't really want it to look like the points. Like, at least from a distance, you want it to look like a solid work. But my understanding is like with the pixel art, it's not only about the blending, but it's also about the color. You know, that's a really big part of it. I mean, even if you were doing it in black and white, it's like the values. Whereas with pointillism, the values are all exactly the same. They're just either farther or closer depending on whether you want it to be, like to get your values. Pointillism, you either put your points farther apart or closer together. This is how it is in weaving. Cause so like I'm a weaver, and we use all zeros and ones, right? You know, it's binary. And it's all about, like I do digital weaving. And so I create my images actually like in Photoshop, rather than, you know, I mean, I also do regular weaving. You know, I don't have a digital loom right now because they're hella expensive. But the idea anyway is that, again, that is less like pixel art and more like pointillism, because in order to get something that is spread, like if I want to get a white, then I would make my weave structure really far apart where I have like a black, white, 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 black, white, 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 black, like that, versus white, black, white, black, white, black, white, black is going to give me a medium gray, right? So anyway, that's kind of the idea behind pointillism. Pixel art is that each pixel is its own shade. And so you're doing blending. I hope I'm explaining this correctly. But you're doing your own blending. Your blending comes from layering, not layering, but putting the pixels next to each other in a way that creates a gradient. Or, you know, anyway. Okay. I'm probably not explaining it that well, so I'm just going to stop. Like I said, I would like to learn more about pixel art, but, and I guess to a certain extent I do some of it because I am a graphic designer, but, I would like to do digital painting. That would be really cool, actually. Okay. So we've got our sky. Excuse me. All right. Digital weaving is awesome, and I've shared some pictures in Brainstrong in our art channel of digital weavings that I've done, and I don't know. To me, it's the most amazing thing. I can't wait to get a digital loom, but it runs at about the one that I want, that I did my work on when I was a student, is about $60,000. So, you know, that's not in my budget right now. But one day it will be, and one day I'm going to have one. So I'm going to be creating the heck out of some digital weavings. All right. So, like I said before, yeah, well, it comes from Norway. And so what I want is what's called a thread controller 2. It's a jacquard loom, which the jacquard loom is what the computer was based on. So, like I said, it's binary. And so the original jacquard loom, Charles Babbage actually designed his first, like that punch card, you know, he designed that based on the punch cards that were being used in the jacquard loom, which again is zeros and ones, because you've got your threads, and I raise these threads and throw my pick of yarn through it. So I've got my these would be my ones and these would be my zeros, right? So, you know, when they're closed, or when, you know, when these ones are pulled up, then you see what I'm saying? It creates like a, you know, the black and the white. Anyway, it's really cool. Okay, so maybe you can. Yeah, you're right. So the idea behind the computer, so they say that the loom is the grandmother of the computer, because that was what gave Charles Babbage the idea. So yeah, weaving's awesome. It's like my favorite thing to do. Okay, let's do some drawing. I can talk more about weaving in my crochet class, because that's actual fiber arts. So in my original drawing, there were like these mountains or something in the background. I'm not going to do that. I want a seascape, so we're not going to do anything in the background. So what we're going to do is draw our shoreline. So first, we're going to start probably about 2 inches up from the bottom. And I know that doesn't look like that, because for some reason my camera got moved the other day when I was doing crochet, and I haven't moved it back, so I apologize. But we are going to go from about here to about 2 inches down from here, from our horizon line. Okay, so just generally do a line. In fact, see, I didn't even meet it. It's okay. It's not that big of a deal if we're a little off. But we just want to generally have a diagonal line here. Okay. Yeah. I will talk, especially like if you're in Brainstrong, I will talk about weaving and digital looms and everything a lot. I'm very proud of my craft. So, okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this line here, and we're going to come up just a little bit. Let's see, maybe a little bit higher. So we're going to come like, you know, right next to that horizon line. We come out to about halfway across the page. And it can be sketchy. It doesn't really matter, because we're going to be filling a lot of this in. I do, however, I'm going to erase. You do not need to erase. If you are following me, you don't have to. Remember, blow, don't wipe. So the only reason I'm erasing is I want you to see where the line is supposed to go, you know. Okay, so you've got your line going halfway across. You're going to come down at a diagonal. It doesn't matter how steep your diagonal is. Let's see, I've got this at what, about a 45-degree angle. Okay, and then we're going to just do a curve. And maybe that's a little more curvy than I want, but you know what? That's okay. I'm going to leave it like that. So it can be, you know, less of a curve or more, whatever. So there you go. So I'm just going to darken that up so you can see. All right. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to actually erase this line here, and maybe actually part of this one. I'm gonna let this curve a little bit more, like that. So then it just gives it a little bit more of an organic approach. You know, I mean, your shoreline isn't going to be. I mean, maybe. I guess it could be. But we're not going to do that. We're going to make it look a little more organic. Round it out a little bit. There we go. All right. There's a part of my hand that wants to like brush it off, but don't do that. That's going to smear. It will smear. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our pencil and we're going to come in. I'm going to leave a little bit of a space right there for my lighthouse. And I'm going to come in and fill in with my pencil. By the way, for any of you who are new to my stream, you'll notice that I have my Discord link right there, like you can see it, but also there should be a button somewhere on my page. You are welcome to join. I always put my reference photos there, and anyone can share their artwork there. That is my channel. I have a couple different channels on there now. It used to just be the one, but I got inspired by the millions of channels on Brainstrong and Handmade, so I have a few now. But it's not very many. It's not the same amount for sure. I've got one for crochet. I've got one for general chatting, because the art one is to share artwork and to talk about artwork. And then I also have a mature art channel that you have to be 18 to go on there. But you can request permission for that if you would like. Just so you know, anything goes on the mature art channel, like anything. So, you know, if you're not prepared for anything, don't join. I'm just going to go ahead and let you know. But that one is private, so you have to request permission. Okay. So I've got all this filled in. Ta-da. And what we're going to do is we're going to use our spreader again. Or again, remember, you can also use your finger. You can also use, you know, a balled up paper towel. You can use a balled up piece of paper, anything. I'm going to use my spreader, which all this is newsprint that has been tightly wrapped to form the shape of a little pencil. A setting for private, it is private. And yeah, there is, I have it set up where you can't even see it, I don't think, unless you ask. That's why I'm telling everyone that if you want permission, I will give it to you. Oh, you know what? I forgot the other side of my lighthouse. Let's fill that in. Okay. Oh, the user's account age to get access. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. I think I do have an age setting on it. I know that you have to click, like, so whenever I open it for the first time in a while, like it even makes me, I have to actually check, yes, I am 18, and like verify that in order just to get in. So I don't know if that, what I should do is I should try having my nephew, who is not 18, I should try having him get on there and see what happens. See if it lets him or not. I do have it turned on where age is required. So we'll see. I mean, so far it's just me and 2 other people on that channel. It's not like a huge, I don't have a huge following or anything. I don't have 2,000 people on my server. So it hasn't become an issue yet. But anyway, we'll figure it out. And this is also a relatively new development. I didn't realize that I needed a mature art channel until it came up in other scenarios, so. But I suppose that we do. Not everybody wants to see everything, you know. That I want that to be somebody's choice. I don't want them to be surprised. You know, even on my website, I've got a couple drawings that I've done, you know, that were of nude models. And, you know, they're not tasteless or anything like that. I mean, they're nice. But, you know, I maybe have kids that go on, you know, I've got some of my art students that have, you know, so I ended up taking most of those off. You know, You gotta be appropriate. That's important. All right. So let's go ahead and get our lighthouse going. So first things first, I'm going to take my eraser. I'm just going to kind of erase up. And let's see. Let's do a very light line. It's going to come in just slightly. It's not like a huge angle, just slightly. We'll do this on both sides. Okay. Just a reminder, everybody, like all we've done so far, we did our horizon line a little bit above the middle. We colored in our sky very lightly, leaving some spaces for different kinds of clouds. We've drawn our shoreline, which was just a line straight across an angle, and then the sea. And then that's about it. That's all we've done so far. So we're not too terribly far. Sarah keeps getting sidetracked talking about her first love, which is fiber arts. That's not true. Drawing was my first love. I'm sorry, drawing. I didn't forget about you. I did start out drawing, which most people do. I mean, like, and most people, I don't know what that means. You'll have to forgive me, just so you guys know. Sarah's not great with pop culture. I grew up without a television. I don't really watch a whole lot now. I don't go online that much up until recently. So, yeah, I don't... Oh, thank you. Oh, that's actually a different language. Haha. Okay. Well, there you go. Okay. I'm going to focus on drawing. I did actually start, I did art as a kid, and my parents made sure I was like into art and stuff, but I didn't really start really learning what I was doing until probably like my senior year of high school. I never took art in school, like middle school or high school. I was in band. Band was my thing. And I don't know, I just randomly decided to major in art. Something called me to it, I guess. Okay, so here's what I'm doing. I've drawn a little platform at the top here that comes out a little bit on either side. Then just slightly to the left and right, I'm going to do some lines coming up. Like that. Then I'm going to bring that across. And I'm going to do another little line inside. It's not going to be directly in the middle. It's going to be just slightly towards the top line. Like, see how there's like a little bit more space below than there is above. Okay, and then we're going to do some little like hash marks like that. All right, something about this is bothering me. It's like it's leaning. Let me... Okay, so here's the thing. If any of you guys have ever seen Bob, the Bob Ross, he talks about happy accidents. And yeah, the right side is too. I know. Oh, I see what it is. There's not enough of an angle on this side. This is actually okay because we're going to be doing shadow on this side. So let's go ahead and just get that colored in. So we're going to shade on this side. There. Ha! Anyway, Bob Ross, happy accidents. So, you know, he talks about how you get going, you get going, and you know you make a mistake or something like that, and instead of trying to erase that mistake or get rid of it, then you try to incorporate it and make it work with your painting, or in this case, art drawing. So I usually, in my face-to-face classes, I don't allow my kids to use their eraser very often. I have a tendency in this class, I have a tendency to use my eraser because we're not in person, I need you to see what the correct line looks like. So I will use my eraser, but I encourage you to not use yours and to just go with it. You know, I mean, if you, like I just took this line and I made my shadow part of it. So now, whether I wanted it there or not, my light source is going to be coming from this side, right? Because now my shadow's on this side. It just so happens that was where I wanted my light source to be, was on this side. So that worked out. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue shading this going this way, but I'm going to loosen up my pressure a little bit. So I'm going to go just a little bit lighter. So a little stripe of a little bit lighter, then a little stripe of even lighter than that, and then even lighter than that. Okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to use our spreader. And we're going to blend all of those together. And again, you do the same thing with the spreader. You keep getting lighter on your pressure. So then now it looks like it's curved. Ta-da! Okay. I'm going to do a couple of little windows here. So I'm going to do a little window right here. Just a little rectangle. I'm going to do a square window here. So a bigger rectangle. And then we'll do a door, which is going to be right there. All right. Now we're going to do the top of the lighthouse. So coming in just slightly from where our railing is, I'm going to do a line that comes up, and it's just going to come straight up. There's no angle or anything like that. We're going to do this on both sides. Like that. And this side, I want to come out a little bit more. Okay, so straight across. Now what we're going to do is we're going to have, so usually when I'm doing like the top of my lighthouse, I'll go ahead and do a little line right in the middle that goes up to where I want the top of that to be. And in this particular case, we're going to have kind of like a ball on top that maybe is like slightly teardrop shaped towards the top. And then on each side, it's going to come up. Now, what I do is I put a little bit of a curve in mine. So just a slight little curve. Just to give it some kind of ornament. Now, getting things to be symmetrical is always the trick in art. So I usually go slower with whatever my second side to be drawn is. That's not even totally symmetrical, but it's okay. Now remember, our light source is coming from this side, so it's going to be dark on this side. All right, so just go ahead have shadow coming in here. And then again, we do the same thing we did down here. We get a little bit lighter and a little bit lighter. And then we'll go in and we'll blend that. Again, you can blend with your finger or balled up piece of paper or something like that. And actually, okay, I want to show you guys something. This line was a little darker than I want it to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my kneaded eraser, and you can use it, you know, your regular eraser on the back of your number 2 pencil is fine. And I'm just going to come in and just dab at that. Luckily, there was a cloud right behind it. That's fantastic placement on my part. Not intentional, but it worked out. So that way when I'm erasing into a white area. So I just wanted to erase that edge. And then what I'm going to do is take my spreader and use my spreader to fill that in. Just gives it a little bit more of a natural look, so it's not so harsh. And if you did not put clouds there, you can always come in with your spreader right behind there and just fill that in very lightly. Okay, now there is a tiny little line that's going to come up from the top of that. And then that part's done. I probably could continue messing with that. I'm going to force myself to stop. Okay, so now we're going to do our glass panes here. So they're not going to be, we don't want them to be exactly equal with our railings, because otherwise then it looks really weirdly intentional, and we don't want that. So just to the right of the railings is where I'm going to put my line. That. And then that makes it look just a little bit off center, so it's not exact. Okay, now the shading that they've done in the reference drawing I actually kind of like, even though I'm not entirely sure that it works with like actual lighting in real life. So what we're gonna do is let's see, you can see the clouds behind here, but we're just going to lightly shade in here, you know, as if just a tiny bit, just enough to show that we're having to look through something. Then for our windows here, we're going to be dark on the left side and gradually get lighter. So dark on the left side and gradually get lighter. I don't know why they did that in the drawing. Like I said, I'm not sure that works with like actual physics, but I think it looks cool, so we're going to stick with it. So again, I'm just using my spreader, and I'm just... I mean, I think maybe it could. Because if the light source is coming from this way, then the right inside the window would be dark butting up against that, right? It's conceivable. Okay. I'm going to call the lighthouse done. We're done with that part. Let's move it along. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do some of our vegetation that's up on the I guess the top of this little cliff area here. So I'm just going to take my this says to use my 4B pencil. I'm going to stick with my 2B pencil the entire time, but just so, because I want this to be able to be something you can do with your number 2 pencils. So I'm going to stick with my 2B, which is the closest I can do with you being able to see it. If I use my number 2 pencil, you wouldn't be able to see my lines. And I really want you to see my lines. Something I just noticed that I do want to fix before moving on. Remember what we did at the top here, where we erased that line and then came in? I want to do this with the lighthouse. I really want my lighthouse to have an edge rather than a line. So right now it's got a line. We're going to create an edge. So I'm going to take my eraser and just erase at the line very gently. Okay. We'll use the spreader. If you have like a paper towel or something like that, you probably want to use it and you can even, if you want, like say you have a paper towel. Okay. Let's give ourselves a point here. You can actually color this like that so that you now have a dirty spreader. So then you could come in and you could do right up against that edge, okay? Because I want to see, you can see where I just went there. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm coming right up against the edge of this lighthouse. And I'm just shading out. Let's see, that's probably a little darker than I wanted. There's a lot of playing with stuff, you know, in art and like just getting it just right. More than anything though, what I want is I want it to not look quite so dark. So to get an edge, you actually shade up to what it is that you're drawing. So you're creating a negative space, essentially. Okay. Close enough. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I didn't want that harsh line. I think, let's see. I can shade down here a little bit more. All right. There's going to be less light on the left edge. Oh, yeah. Oh, the windows. Thank you. Thank you for validating my design choice there. I needed that. Okay. Let's go ahead and do some vegetation. So what I'm going to do, again, this wants me to use my 4B graphite stick. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use this, just my regular pencil. Okay, so I'm just going to start doing little circular motions. Little circular motions. And I'm just pressing medium hard. Little circular motions, and I'm just going to come all the way to my edge there. I have to keep looking at my my OBS screen because what you guys see and what I see are actually a little different because of our angle. So I need to make sure that you guys are seeing what I want you to see, if that makes sense. So sometimes things look a little bit different than how I would draw them if I was like right. And also I'm not right on top of it. I'm drawing kind of to my right and up a little bit. So that it can be under my camera. All right, so I'm going all the way across with my little, and I'm not staying in the straight line. I'm kind of like, you know, coming down a little bit and, you know, just like letting it meander, letting my little circles meander a little. Okay. We can use our spreader. We can come in and just do circular motions with our spreader. I did a little bit less in front of the door because, of course, you know, if this were a real lighthouse, they would probably clean the vegetation in front of the door, you know, so you can get in. So we'll just assume that they've done that. All right, now I'm going to take this and let's just very lightly sketch like a V shape here. It's going to come up and then we'll just go straight across. Now I'm going to actually just do jagged lines. So this is very choppy. I'll hold this up so you can see. Just very back and forth strokes there. All the way around. Like that. Okay. And then I want there to be like, let's see, a little outcropping here. So we're going to come up almost like a path, but it's not actually a path. It's just a, or maybe it is. Maybe this is where they walk and stand every day, and so they've just kind of worn a path. I don't know. And then I'm going to slightly lighter pressure fill everything else in. Guess what comes next? Spreader. You guessed correctly if you said spreader. So we're going to come in and we're going to spread it. Again, here, I'll just do this with my finger just to show you that it's possible. You can do it with your finger. Okay. Ta-da. Now your spreader, of course, is going to make it nice and clean and crisp. And, you know, of course, your finger now, you know, I've got graphite on my finger. But you can do it with your finger. Okay, so I'm going to come in here and just give myself like a little more organic edge than just this straight line. So I'm doing my little marks like I did before with just like little back and forth strokes, but I'm kind of letting it go in a not straight path. There. I'm not too worried about back here, more than the front. Okay. Now let's get our foreground drawn. All right. So the foreground, it would be very helpful if we used our graphite stick here, especially since they're recommending a 6B. I'm not going to do that though. Again, I really want you guys to see what this could be like with a number 2 pencil. So we're going to do it all with this. All right, so we're going to do kind of like what we did here with our vegetation, like right up on the lighthouse. But we're just going to do much bigger circle areas. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to kind of design where I want this to go. So let's get some lines here. There. I don't know. I'm just haphazard about it. Okay, so now bigger circles. I just want to show you guys real quick what the difference is, what it looks like. If you're really into art and you have graphite sticks or you want to get them, this is the difference. It's quite a difference, right? But again, it's possible to do it with just the pencils. So I want you to see that. The edges are always the hardest for me because, you know, you're going off and so it ends up looking really choppy and weird on the edge. That happened over here. You can see where like there's these dark marks where like went off the page. Yes. It is very much why art is framed. Thank you. Yeah. You got to hide those edges. Now in printmaking, I like printmaking a lot. You get kind of a natural border because the ink pushes to the edges a little bit. So it gives you a border. Okay, so when I get over here to this line, I'm going to go over that line, all right? Because I don't want that like really weird straight line there. So I'm going over it and I'm letting it be kind of haphazard, you know, not trying to be any which way about it. That's probably the biggest key. Like if you were drawing trees in the background, don't make all your trees the same height, you know. It's all about just being as random as you can be. As humans, we can't be random. Unless we're not trying. But I don't think even then, we can't be random. It's not possible. We work in patterns. We are everything that came before us. And that's all built with patterns. Okay, so this is going to take a little while because normally, you know, if I'm doing it with this big stick, that's going to be a lot easier. So bear with me as I color circles. Bear with me. I'm just going to multitask here. Who says you can't multitask? All right. This is the most exciting part of my stream is, you know, watching me fill things in with texture. I'm going to let it get a little bit lighter in this foreground, mostly because I don't want to be filling everything in. This is going to take a long time if I try to fill everything in as dark as I did up here. So I'm going to be a little bit lighter about it. Not worry so much. Because I'm doing it in this circular motion, when I go to use my spreader, which you knew that was coming next, right? I mean, surely you saw the pattern there. So as soon as I use my spreader, this is going to fill a lot of this in. So we're not going to even see the circles as much. It's just going to look like a texture. All right. So close. I'm so close. Okay. Just, yeah. Whew. Spreader. I'm going to move this up so you can see the whole thing. All right. Now, what's cool about your spreader, you can actually come in on your side like that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep it as if you were using your finger. And I might get a little bit smaller up towards the top. And just let it kind of do like little circles just here and there to make it look sort of bushy and jagged and, you know. The trick to art is finding the line, the balance between it being intentional but looking unintentional. That is the fine line. Okay. So I'm still using the circular motions, but you can come in, you can do the, you can just do like a straight up coloring motion. It's not going to probably matter too much because you're just filling it in. But you can see it's already looking better, right? You know, I mean, I guess better is a subjective statement, but okay. Oops. My paper's moving around a little bit. You've got to want to hold that down. Using my spreader is almost as fun as watching me use my pencil to do the exact same motion. You can see this area right here where I used my graphite stick earlier is darker. That's because I used the 6B graphite stick. So 6B, remember I said B is bold. The higher the number, the bolder it is, but that means it's darker. So. Oops. I lost my motion there for a minute. Ugh. Hate edges, hate them. Okay. Normally I try to go all in the same direction, but this edge is killing me right now, so I'm just going up and down there. Just, you know, Just do your best, you know. So see, you can still see my circular motions, and that's okay. And we could come in, if we wanted, we could come in and do like some more straight lines if we wanted. So Will mentioned earlier moving from the shoulder. You can also pivot from your, let me get in the camera. You can pivot from your elbow like that. Just only time you want to use your wrist is when you're specifically trying to get a curved shape. Like I use that for like wispies in grass. Okay, so I've got these lines in here. Spread again, because you don't want to see all of those lines. This time maybe I'll spread using the circular motions. You know, you just change it up. This is what gives it texture. I'm not going to worry too much about the foreground anymore because we're going to be doing some of those like leaf shapes. Good enough. Done. Okay. Let's get some of our vegetation that's going to be in the middle here. Elmaine, hey, welcome to the stream. How's everything going? Okay, so I'm going to draw some very light lines of where, oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm going to do some light lines of where I want stuff to go. Okay, so I'm going to have some vegetation come right there. I'm going to have, let's see, maybe some vegetation come down here. And we're going to go down pretty far. Maybe there. I'm going to have some come over here. Yeah. Okay. Yay, I'm glad. You need to are you on my Discord server? I don't know if you are. I can't remember. But if you're not, you should join and you should share some of your drawings. I would love to see them. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to come in similar to up here, but we're just going to use lighter pressure. We're going to do little tiny circles that go right along our lines. Right along the lines. We're not delving any farther than that. Just see where it goes. Do some little lines over here. Okay. Oh, last line. And again, I'm trying to make it kind of not intentional looking. I'm intentionally trying to make it look unintentional. Such is art. Okay, so we'll come in here and we'll spread. Now, you just want to be careful where you're putting your hand. So like it's probably okay. If you're using a number 2 pencil, it's not going to spread onto your hand that much, like it's not going to smear, but just be aware of where you're putting your hand. You can always put like if you do have a paper towel or something, you can put it down under your hand, and that will actually help, you know, from smearing it around, especially when you've worked in a really dark area. That becomes more important when you start using charcoal and things like that really do smear quite a bit. With just a number 2 pencil, you're probably okay, but I just wanted to make you aware of that. Another piece of paper, yeah, you could do that too, just another piece of paper under your hand. Okay. All right, so right now this looks like a weird veiny shoreline. We're gonna fix that. All right, so first of all, I want to fix my edge. We're gonna come in here and do some things to our edge so it's not quite as crisp as it is right now. So let's first start. I'm gonna come out and then down and maybe out again. I'm following the reference drawing. To see how I kind of took away that straight line that we had there. And then I'm going to come in and just right up against it, bring in some shading. And that'll make it look a little bit less like a line and a little more like an edge. I'm not too terribly concerned if it looks edge-like, because that just makes it stand out a little bit more. And there could be vegetation or something like that. But it just makes it look maybe not so stark. Okay. Now let's see. Let's do, okay, starting here, we're going to actually start doing kind of these rounded shapes, and it's just going to come up. I'm just going to scoop up into our cliff, like to our rocky area. So we're going to do another rounded shape like that. Looks a little like, let's see, I try to look for shapes, like I try to look for like either I don't know, some kind of common shape, like maybe like, I don't know, some kind of hook. I don't know. I'm not doing well with the words today or yesterday. Okay. They don't necessarily have to be curved. You could actually just bring them straight out and then up, like a little scoop, maybe like a little check mark. Like that. A backwards check mark. This is often something I do when I'm drawing, and I tell my students to do this. You know, take your sketchbook, go outside, and draw things, but look for the shapes in them, right? You know, look for, you know, circular areas or triangular areas. You know, look for a shape, a teardrop shape. You know, like up here, I was saying it looked kind of like a teardrop. You know, but look for shapes when you're drawing, because it's going to help you visualize the proportions of things. It'll help you visualize, you know, the actual shape of an object. I'm just doing like this curvy. Let's see, and then I'm just gonna like let it be kind of like that. It's kind of making it jagged, a little jagged edge there. Okay, so let's do this. Use an eraser. This time you can use an eraser. I mean, technically any of the times you could have used the eraser. I can't see you. I have no idea whether you're doing it or not. But I was telling you before not to use one, so now I'm telling you you can use one. Okay. Just to get some of that cleaned up there, I'm going to redraw some of my lines here. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to have like a kind of a, let's see. I'll hold this up so you can see it. We're going to do like a scooping Okay, so I'm going to hold that up so you can see. So this is kind of like scooping line. And what this is going to be, we're going to erase out. And this is going to be the area where it's creating like that foamy, like right up at the shore. You don't have to erase completely out. Like that. So I'm going to come in that line that I just drew, and I'm going to make it a little bit jagged. We're going to boy, was that not successful. Okay, well, we want to erase on the other side of it. So hang on just a minute. I'm erasing over it. I promise there's a goal here. You can erase over it too. Depends on how dark you drew your line. Let's try this. Let's start this whole little section over again, okay? So what we're gonna do, this is the make it up as you go teaching format. That's the method I'm gonna be using today. All right. So we're going to take our spreader, or again, if you have like a paper towel, something, we're going to come in and we're going to actually spread our line in. So we're doing an edge. Remember how we did the edge on the side of the lighthouse? We're doing the same thing here. And this does not, you don't have to do all of the little jagged lines that I did earlier. Right now, we're mostly concerned about getting an edge to our little white foamy area where the waves are coming in. And we might actually have this coming around a little bit. Okay. Better. I feel better already. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to come in. I'm going to do a couple little like swirly lines maybe over here. Maybe like some kind of sandy areas maybe. I'm going to use my spreader. If you want to do this lightly with your pencil, you can. You can come back in, and you're basically going to be coming back in and doing that jagged line that we did earlier. This loopy line. So I can still see mine a little bit, so I'm just going to follow it because I liked that line. I didn't have a problem with it. It just didn't look exactly how I wanted it to before. So see, now I've got this like jagged line there. Okay. We are going to do some rocks out in the, let's see, let's do a little eraser mark right there. We'll see, let's do an eraser mark here, because where we do our eraser marks is where we're going to be putting our little rocks. And here. All right, so out here, we're going to do a line. It's basically a little tiny triangle is what it's going to look like. That's it. Just a little triangle. All right, there is going to be a little guy in here. And then this one, so we're going to do 2 triangles. We're going to do, well, it's more like a triangle and a rectangle. So we've got triangle there, and then it's going to come out like that. I don't know exactly if that's a triangle and a rectangle. This is the closest shapes I could come up with. Make a shape. How about that? Make it look like a shape. Okay, and then I had one down here. There. Some of mine look a little like sharks. I don't know about how I feel about that. I'm going to use my kneaded eraser and I'm going to take out. So all you have to do, you can take your regular eraser and do this, but you just come in and just kind of dab at it and it'll make it look a little bit more natural, like, you know, like not quite so harsh of lines. Okay. Now, let's see. So we've got, we need more of our shoreline here. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come in and I'm just going to dab at this because it is a little bit dark. Just so we get the feel of it. Then I'm going to come back in with my spreader. And we'll just get some, we'll redraw our lines with the spreader. The spreader just makes everything, I'm telling you, these things are like, I don't know, $1 or $2 you can at Walmart, like you can buy a package of these. I know nobody's really wanting to leave their house right now, so I get, you know, just you can do, like I said, what my cousin John said, which is to take like a paper towel or a piece of paper or something, get it wet, roll it up like really, really tight. Roll it up really tight. Cheap combined art sets. Yes. So like if you buy, okay, so this isn't a cheap set, but if you buy a set like this, you know, like, you know, something that comes in like a pack of pencils with, it'll come with like an eraser and a sharpener and a spreader. Yeah, they're not very expensive. Oh, Schwa, hey, I didn't see you joined. Welcome. Thank you. But yeah, these are inexpensive, and I do recommend that you get them. They're really handy. I mean, because look, I'm drawing with it. Like, it's not even a matter of spreading with it. I mean, you can draw with it. Especially dirty spreaders are great because you can get these really fine, like, you know, blended lines without, you know, having to do very much. They make things very effortless. Okay. So I'm coming in around my shoreline. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to start taking my spreader. Again, like I said, you can use a piece of paper or something, and you can actually even, you know, like I said, draw on your paper or your paper towel or whatever. Then you make this into a point, and that gives you the same thing as the spreader, right? So you can do this. Oops. Let me just throw things around here. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to start doing some of our shading on the side of our rocks. We're just coming up and we're just basically adding areas of shadow. Now remember, our light source is coming from this direction. Oh, Schwa, you'll like my clouds. Okay, so my the light source is coming from this direction, but we also want to add some texture. So I'm going to put in some straight lines up and down. You saw it. You found it. Okay. Um, there's some straight lines up and down. Let me see. I'm going to hold this up closer because I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. Because these are very, very light. So I'm just doing some straight lines up and down like that. So see how light they are? Like hardly anything. I can come in here and do some of them with a pencil. That way you can see them a little better. I care a lot less about how mine look and more about how yours look. Okay. I want you to be able to see these. So what I do is I make mine different lengths. So see, by making them different lengths, what happens is it makes the rocks look like, you know, like this is like an edge here, right? You know, this is an edge here, you know, and so like it looks like we're looking at the like kind of a cliff side of something. So, you know. But all of this technically is like cliff, you know, it's going straight down. I changed direction just a little bit, coming this way. Let's see, here I might have like some kind of areas coming up that maybe curve a little bit. Pretty sure that game has altered your mind. Ah, yes, they do. Well, that's why I almost didn't want to say anything at all. I wanted to see if you just noticed it. But, you know, that's me. Spoiler. I'm not good with the spoilers. I always blurt things out. We do need to do another game night, though. Okay, so I did this, like, really high. And when I say another game night, I mean, we could do, like, tabletop type games. But also, I want to do another witness night. Like that's, I restarted the game, so I've got quite a bit to do now. Okay. So I did this a little bit farther up than I really... Munchkin, yes! I do want to play that again. That was fun. This is a little higher up than I intended it to be. So there's a couple of things I could do here. I could do the Bob Ross thing, which is say, okay, happy accident. We're going to make this something new. Which is probably what I'm going to do. But there's also, I could, you know, take this area here and bring it up higher because this is supposed to connect. In the original image, let me just pull this up. I'm going to show you. Okay, so if you look in the original image, this right here is a pretty short distance. I would say that's maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches max between here and here. Okay, I want you to look at mine. This is a much bigger area. It's not terribly bigger, but it's much bigger. We're looking, we wanted almost more of that. So I did a much bigger section. Well, here's what I can do. So I can go with it. I could bring this up here farther, you know, so I could just kind of, you know, do my little circles higher up. And bring it to about here. I could just leave it, you know, and not do anything. But of course, definitely you're not going to do that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a new area that's not even part of my reference photo. I'm going to pretend like I've got like a rocky area here. Let's see. I'm just making this up. So no guarantees it's going to look great. So I'm going to make a rocky area here. I'm going to let this kind of come up a little bit. Let's see. I'm just, you know, making it up. I'm not even sure what I'm doing here. So I'm doing some lines here. I'm going to do some darker areas here because this is like a curved area of rock. Do some lines down here. Okay, so now I'm going to take my spreader and I'm going to come in and clean up these lines a little bit, blend them. These are straight here because it's like, you know, the side of a rock face. I've got a new little cliffy area there. Look at that. Cliffy area. And you can actually, you know, use your spreader and spread in here a little bit, give it a little bit of texture. You know, you don't have to leave it like that. I'm going to bring in my pencil. I would like there to be a little bit more definition here. I don't want it to be quite as spready, you know, quite as undefined and blended. I want texture. So I'm coming in and just doing some kind of random curly cues. And that just gives it a little bit of texture in there. Okay. Okay. I'm not entirely sure what these are down here. If this is like I think it's supposed to be vegetation. I mean, I'm following the reference photo, but I'm not entirely sure. I don't know. We just make it up as we go, people. That's what we do. Okay, so I'm coming in and doing my lines. Remember, your lines change direction a little bit on this side. I'm looking to see if I like it like this. Maybe I'm going to do some coming around here. Let's see. All of my drawings always look different every time. I never follow the reference photo exactly. And I encourage you too to, you know, not exactly follow mine. You know, put your lines where you want. So this is where the happy accidents really come into play, where you make it yours. So all I'm doing right now is coming in and kind of blending in this edge here, the edge of this like cliff area. Remember we had this like little pathway coming in here? Okay. What else? What else? I'm looking. Trying to see what I'm not happy with. My shoreline, this is like a little bit farther than my shoreline. I could do another, ooh. Okay, I could do another one of these. Just like a little lighter. So I'm, the same thing that we did here, I'm doing that that same line. So, you know, you have like this ripple effect. Nope. Because that just looks like the edge. Hold on. Oh, it's an experiment. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm not actually taking it away entirely. I'm just erasing out in front of it so that it's like kind of a wider area. And then I'll just dab at that. Okay. Oh, yeah. Much better. I like it. Okay. What else? What else do we want to do? If anybody has any suggestions, I mean, it's pretty much like the reference photo now. Let's see. We could maybe do like another little like rock in here, like maybe right here. Yeah, something. Yeah. Well, we're actually good on time, so we can go ahead and finish it up. So what I want to talk to you guys about, since I'm done, I'm going to do a little bit of a critique. And I want to talk to you guys about proper ways to critique your artwork. Because artists tend to be very hard on themselves. I know, shocking, right? Let's see, something to bring more perspective to the ridge in the front lighthouse right here. Well, yes. Okay, so I intentionally didn't do the mountains in the background. I wanted this to be like an open thing. So what we can do, hold on. I'm cleaning up this line back here. Because remember how I said it wasn't straight across? Let me clean this up. Okay, good point. All right, so here's what's going to happen. Since we didn't put the mountains in the background, we need to do a couple of things. One, we need to make our background darker, because it's going to, in real life, it would look like it was getting darker. So what we're going to do is shade this a little bit. So we're going to make this look a little bit darker back here than it is in the foreground. Okay. All right. So per Will's suggestion, we're going to do a couple of things here. First of all, I'm not adding the mountains in, but I am going to make this area darker back here. But I am going to fix the front here and make it look more meaningful. Thank you for the suggestions. And then we'll talk critique, because critique is important. You got to know how to critique your own work. Okay, so I've got my area in the background darker, and of course, hold on. There we go. I don't know why that was not lining up. Okay. Okay, so what can we do here? So in the image, it's just basically dark squiggly lines. So we can let's see. Let's just start defining it first. So let's define, and I'm going to make it kind of purposely jagged, right? Like that. Okay, let's do this. We're going to have a couple of lines that are darker coming down from it. And this is going to give us some depth. I'm going to actually bring this down just a little bit. Okay. Let's deepen this just a little bit with like some kind of little circles. So we're actually broadening this line so it's not just a single line. We're giving it more weight. We're creating line weight here by making it heavier. Now remember, I've got my little path thing here, so I don't want to forget about that, because we want it to be similar darkness. Oh yeah. You know what? We also forgot the leaves in the front. I got to do that. This is what happens when you stop following a lesson plan. I do have a lesson plan in front of me. But I just stopped looking at it. Like I said, I have a tendency to just stop, make it up as I go. Some of the lesson plans that I have are terribly written. I don't write all of these. Some of them I do, some of them I don't. I'm going to probably be writing a lot more of my own, because after a while I'm going to run out of lesson plans that I have. These are supported by Grumbacher. Chartpack is the name of the company. But Grumbacher and Chartpack Grumbacher and Koh-i-Noor are both part of Chartpack. And they actually have provided me the lesson plans. Because that's who I used to teach through. And then, like, the program got, like, it's not canceled, but it got, weird stuff happened, and, you know, we don't really do it anymore. So I don't anyway. Hold on. I thought I was going to sneeze. That didn't happen, so... in that feel when you're about to sneeze and it doesn't happen. Okay. You said you used to wing it a lot. Yeah. Oh man. Sometimes you have to. It depends on who wrote the lesson plan. If you wrote it, it's easier to wing because you know what you did. But usually you don't have to because you wrote it. You know. All right. But yeah, when other teachers or instructors did it, you kind of have to. Sometimes. It's just not well done. Okay, I'm going to make this area over here darker because it is in the original too. Okay. So this still doesn't look that great to me. Let's see what we can do. Let's see, using a spreader. Let's see what we can do to, like, kind of help our edges here. I don't know. To be perfectly honest with you, I don't think this is that great in the reference photo. So it's a matter of me, like, making up what goes here. All right. I don't know. There's something about it I don't like. I don't know what. I don't know. I remember not liking this the first time I did it too. You'd think maybe I had gone in and made up for that, but clearly I didn't. Tomorrow we're doing a brand new lesson plan. I've never looked at it before. It's called Peggy's Cove. I'm trying to stick with the theme, so tomorrow is a lighthouse as well, but it's painting. It's an acrylic painting. And I am really excited to do it because I haven't painted a lighthouse in a really long time. I've done a Hatteras, a Cape Hatteras lighthouse before, but anyway, I have not done the one that we're doing tomorrow, which is at 2 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, that should be pretty interesting because, like I said, I haven't done that one before. Okay, let's see. You know what? Hold on. Physics. Look. Okay. Right here, this would be darker because it's facing away from our light source. Because this cliff goes off that way. We figure some things out around here. It happens from time to time. That looks so much better. Okay, so we're going to pretend like we've got a face of something coming out right here. Check this out. We're going to make this more interesting. There we go. So what ends up happening is now we've got, it looks like there's like a face of something coming out here, right? Like that it's turned, you know. So in order to make this look more realistic, let's bring this. Still not looking right to me. I think it has something to do with the top area. I don't know why I'm holding that pencil in the other hand. Okay. All right. So we want that to recede back, right? So then our vertical lines here will kind of go up a little bit. That's what it is. That's what it is. Okay. I mean, the main part of this was the lighthouse, but we do want the area in front of the lighthouse to look interesting, right? So let's say it's dark right here, which is going to make it look like it comes out, like it comes out and then tilts towards us. Because I mean, look at my hand. Okay, this is perfect. My light source is coming from this direction, right? So look at how dark it is on the right side of my hand. So that's what we're doing, is by creating it dark right here, we're making it look like it scoops up and comes forward a little bit. You know? It happens. Okay. So I'm going to shade this in a little bit, but I'm going to let that kind of be just whatever, haphazard. Okay. This area right here, I'm still not entirely happy with, but I don't know what to do. We could do the same thing we did here, which is to create some areas where it's clearly, you know, angled. So let's see. We're going to say it's angled here. Like that. Yeah, I like that. That's more interesting, I think. Not fan of this area here. Maybe we'll come in and just make it look more like vegetation, you know. That doesn't look like vegetation. That looks like somebody just scribbled. Okay. All right. We'll see. It's all an experiment, you know? Yeah, that's a bit of all right. Okay. Let's see. What else? What else? What else? Here, there needs to be something, because this juts out. So I'm going to pretend like there's something there. Let's see. This would actually probably come out this way a little bit, maybe. I wonder if John's still streaming. When he went on earlier, I mean, he went on a couple hours before my stream, but I was like, he's streaming. So I didn't get to finish watching. Like I lost like about 45 minutes of his stream before I came on, because, you know, I've got to prep and everything like that. So bummer. I like watching his. Hold on just a minute. Sorry, guys. Alexa was talking to me. She was reminding me that I have a meeting apparently in 10 minutes. I do have a meeting in 10 minutes. Thanks, Alexa. Okay. Let's get these leaves done. Let's do this. Let's get these leaves down the front. I'm going to call this part up here done. I think it's okay. Will, what do you think? Give me your professional opinion here. We'll see. If Will's still on. He might have gotten bored and left. Like, man, this girl's taking a long time. Okay. All right. I'm just going to dot a little bit right here at the front. No. Oh, dude, you're totally cool. All I was asking was if this area looked improved to you. Okay, excellent. Thank you. Great. Yes. We're going to leave it as that. We can do some here, so if we wanted to do some shading here, make it look like, these areas are facing, we can. The slope directly in front of the door. You're killing me. I've got a meeting in 10 minutes, Will. Okay. The slope directly in front of the door. Like, it looks a little bit, like a bit of a mound. Yeah, I know you're in the same meeting. That's what I'm saying. Is like, I need to wrap this up. Okay. Okay. You mean it looks like a mound in the picture, or it looks like a mound in mine? Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna add like a little stair right in front of the door there. Okay. Oh, in both. Okay. So we added a stair. Like, maybe like we want it to look like it's coming down a little bit. Okay. Normally I don't mind if I go over my time a little bit because I try to make my classes 2 hours, but today I do have something going on. So we're going to skip the leaves. We're not going to do the leaves in the front. So sorry, guys. It is what it is. I'll do one leaf just to show you guys how to do it. Why don't I just take this whole little vegetation area out? I don't know that it's necessarily needed. And what we might do is just bring over some shading. And let's see, put some shading this way. Do that. Let's do so I'm going to take my eraser and I'm erasing down like left to right, going down like a stroke like that with my eraser, and that's going to make it look a little mound like going there. And then I don't know. I don't know what. I'm sure I'm missing something. Okay. You may be just appeasing me so that we can get to our meeting, but thank you. I think it's okay. I think what it is this comes up a little bit here. Right? So I think I just did a straight line going across, whereas on the, in the reference image, it actually comes up at an angle. Let's see. Let me see if I can make this happen. Here, hold on. Well, it's too late. I've already started messing with my thing, so. We're just going to make it, we're going to make it happen here. I already started erasing and stuff, so it's just too late. Okay. Let's get our little thing there. Now we're up at an angle. And, okay, go get set up for the meeting. And I'm going to finish up telling everybody how to do a critique, because that's an important part of my lesson. Like, I got to do it. Okay. So, this is fine. This is fine. We're gonna leave this. It probably actually looked better before I started messing with it. This is what happens when you get like a little bit too. I'm just gonna make some lines coming up this way. Okay. Leaving it alone. Oh. Happy accidents, yeah. Right. Thanks, Bob. Okay. So let's talk about this. So when you critique your work, it's really important that you not get too down on yourself, and you not, give yourself a hard time for the things you didn't do or the things you should have done, or, stuff like that, because that's not really productive. What you want is you want it to be constructive, your criticism. So the first thing I like to do is I like to say one thing I think is really effective and what's really working well. Like, so what was the intent of my drawing? My intent was to make it look like a realistic image, a realistic representation of the seashore. I think that I did that. I think that it does look like the sea. I think this down here is particularly effective. And I actually kind of like the edge that I've got going on here. Now I could come in and play with this and maybe make it like come around even more. I'm not going to right now, but I mean, I could. This is for like future. So things I can do. Maybe I would work on in front of this lighthouse. Maybe I'd go find some more reference photos of other lighthouses and, see what it looks like in other areas. Now this looks like it's sloping down a little bit, which I like. But there's still some work that needs to be done here. So I don't think it's entirely finished up in this area. I think that there's things to be done. But overall, I think it's okay. You want to always sign your work. I'm going to sign. And let's see. Ooh, hold on. Sorry about that. I had an alarm going off. Let's see if anybody else uploaded artwork. I don't see anything. There's something in just chatting. I don't think. Okay. All right. So that is not. So nobody has uploaded any artwork. If you were following along and you want to, you can upload your artwork to the where I just went in Discord, to the art share, and we can talk about it. I can give you critique there. Sometimes I do it live, like depending on if you've done it and upload. Every once in a while people will, so I'll do live feedback. But as far as mine goes, I want to work right here. And I think I want to work a little bit more in this area and just kind of define the edge of my cliffs a little bit more. In this section here, there needs to be some kind of like greenery or leaves or something. You can do some shapes with just lines. So like, let's do a leaf shape. There's a leaf shape. And we're going to have an imaginary line coming down the middle. We're going to do some lines going up to the right and some lines going up to the left. That's pretty much it. And you can do this, you know, do as many as you want. That way. Let's see. So just, that's it. You know, we've got just some different leaves. And you can, you know, come in here and you can blend a little bit more. You can add, like if you do have graphite sticks, this is really handy. This is a 6B that I'm using here. And you can come in and do some different shapes here. And that gives it like even a rougher feel. You know? Like that. Okay. So as I said earlier, I'm going to leave this. As I said earlier, I'm going to be doing a Lighthouse tomorrow. It's the first time I've done that lesson plan, so I'm pretty excited about it. That's at 2 p.m. Eastern. And then, of course, I have my new crochet class that I'm doing every Tuesday. And if you want to join me in that and were not there on Tuesday, this past Tuesday that I had my first class, I encourage you to go back and watch the video because I do talk about the supplies that you'll need. It's just 2 things. That's it. You just need yarn and a hook. But I explain how all of that works and stuff. And I go ahead and show you the beginnings of single crochet. So I encourage you to go look at that. Next Tuesday, I'm going to go over the basics of single crochet again. So we will be actually relearning the stitch itself. So don't worry about if you don't have the supplies now. But I encourage you to join me. Crochet is actually pretty fun. It's very relaxing and meditative. And it actually, because there's a lot of patterns and math in it, it actually works both your analytical part of your brain and your creative part of your brain. So I encourage you to join me. So that's Tuesdays at 2. Tomorrow at 2, we're doing painting. And if for some reason you don't show up tomorrow, that's fantastic. Have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you next week. Thank you for joining my stream.